how do you handle treating colleagues and their families? They have good insurance and I prefer not to accept insurance. So I know we all learn to have strict boundaries, don't see colleagues, don't see family members, don't see family members of colleagues and stuff like that. In practice, I've done this a lot, and it usually comes down to like, I just feel like they would have trouble accessing care if I didn't see them. They have tons of anxieties or blocks, internal or external blocks to seeing someone. And I know I could really easily help them and it wouldn't be that complicated. I'll do it just because we didn't go into psychiatry to not help people, you know what I mean? But how I've handled it is that I just completely compartmentalize. So first, I would set the expectation with a colleague of like, hey, definitely I'll see this family member. You know, I assume your colleagues, the psychiatrists, they know that everything's going to be private. So if you feel like that needs to be said out loud, maybe you'd say it out loud. But I think your colleague gets that. I just, in those situations, never bring it up. Like I just act like it doesn't exist. In terms of the billing, you either are billing cash or you're not billing. I would not be worth it to do anything through Headwear Alma to bill through insurance. But what I'd probably do in this situation is I would look up their benefits on Reimbursify. I would look at what their out-of-pocket is. Now, the one thing is that they will have had to meet their deductible to be able to use the out-of-network, and we're about to reset the year, so they're probably starting from scratch in terms of their deductible. But I'd probably negotiate with them a fee where their out-of-pocket is minimal, you know, where they're going to get most of the fee you charge reimbursed. And you can actually generate a super bill even if you haven't billed the patient. So what you could do if you wanted was generate a super bill for the fee you're going to charge, and then they submit it to their insurance for reimbursement, and then when they get the reimbursement you take the money, or you just, if they can afford to kind of float it, you bill them. You can even sign up for a level of service with Reimbursify where they automatically submit the super bills on behalf of the patient. You do have to write the note that day, I believe, for this service to work, but as long as you write the note that day, Reimbursify automatically just submits it to the insurance. Something you can consider as well, or you could just do it manually for them as a courtesy. But it's really easy with the app. Like in my practice, I just do it as a courtesy, or I had my assistant do it for the first patient just to show them how easy it was, and then they would do the follow-up super bills via their app. But yeah, to answer your question logistically, you would look up their reimbursement from out-of-network, and then you would negotiate a fee where their out-of-pocket would be minimal. Like the delta between what insurance reimburses them and what you charge is minimal and like acceptable to both of you. And then you would decide if you bill them up front and then they wait for reimbursement, or you give them a super bill after the appointment and then you don't collect the money until they've gotten reimbursement. The super bill getting submitted by Reimbursify does not guarantee that it's going to be reimbursed. You know, sometimes depending on the insurance company, they put up obstacles to getting that reimbursement. But I found like Blue Cross Blue Shield is pretty good. I don't know if that's what they have, but a lot of the larger commercial insurance carriers are actually pretty good. What will happen is Reimbursify will automatically send your super bill to Aetna or whatever their insurance is. So it would have to be an insurance that's a PPO with out-of-network benefits. If it's an HMO, this wouldn't work, in which case you're just making a decision to either see them for free or see them for very low cost. And this is how I'd phrase it to them, like, hey, so, you know, I don't accept insurance in my practice and it's really logistically cumbersome for me to just accept insurance for you because I'd have to credential with insurance and it would interfere with, you know, me charging cash otherwise in my practice, but I do want to be able to see your family member. Could we potentially negotiate a lower fee that works for you? And then you can just leave it open-ended and let them say like, oh yeah, sure. Then the two of you negotiate something that essentially is high enough where you feel like, you know, not resentful that you're doing things for free or too cheap, and more is affordable and feels reasonable to them.